Hi everyone, I'm Abhishek and I'm an SD intern at Tandemloop Technologies, and we are here for participating in a journey of learning and open source contribution. This journey is named as Openloop. But but before starting with Openloop, let's understand who we are. What is the Tandemloop Technologies? What are its goals and vision? So I'll just pass the conversation to Mr. Harsha sir, who is the founder of Tandemloop Technologies. So, Harsha sir.
Thanks for the intro. Hey guys, my name is Harsha. Like Abhishek said, I'm one of the founders of Tandemloop, and Bahubali is also another co-founder of the company. And essentially, right, the kind of why we did this open loop and all this stuff, it goes back to kind of why we started the company in the first place. So we started back in 2018, and I had just completed my engineering in 2016. And after working a year, right, in a kind of a semi-corporate company, kind of fell in love with programming and kind of started this off in 2018 along with Bahubali. Okay, and the main kind of the goal, I would say, of Tandemloop essentially is to kind of build applications which enhances customer experience and user experience and things like that. Essentially, we want to build something amazing. So that's the main goal here. And from 2018, we've done a lot, and we have kind of learned through our mistakes and supported a lot of customers. And I wish if you just go on to the next slide, we have supported a lot of customers actually, and most of the applications which we have developed right from 2018, it's kind of in the b2b area. So these are businesses in which we support. Okay, and you can see companies like Stanley, L&T, Terex, Molbio, a lot of medical customers, a lot of industrial engineering customers. And through these interactions with these customers, right, we've learned a lot in terms of software development, in terms of security, in terms of how to exactly deliver a particular project, which actually is very important for us to give out to the society, to the community. Because if you're a college kid, or if you are just a person of like a couple of months experience, you entirety of your kind of, you'll be questioning everything. Meaning, how does the entire pipeline work? How do they deliver projects? How do we do all these basic stuff, right? All of these is a question mark. So essentially, what we want to do is we want to answer those. So Tandemloop can be one open playground where in which you can ask us questions, you can kind of contribute on projects, you can contribute on actual projects which we are delivering to customers, and you can intern with us. I mean, we're open to anything really. And I just want this particular Discord server, right, to be an interaction. So an interactive community wherein you guys can ask us anything in terms of probably even things like how do you prepare a resume in order for me to get a job. Okay, so those kind of things. So by that regard, we kind of started this initiative of Open Loop, in which there's a lot of things planned, and a lot of things are still in the works. We have many big things planned, and this is just one of it initially. Okay, so essentially, what we want to do down the line is we want you guys, the help of the community, to build a B2C product which we will open source and we will give out to the community as an open source product. So it's like that, and the details of all these, right, we will give you throughout the weeks and throughout the days. And these sessions we will have weekly once, but we can plan it out and kind of have it in kind of probably in the middle of the week sometime, because the discussion thread, right, which is right above here in Discord, you can ask us questions, you can kind of ping us, you can send us friend requests and kind of DM us directly as well. So all those things we will plan and we will do. But essentially, you can consider this as a playground wherein which you can explore, wherein which you can learn, collaborate, and the lots. Okay, so if you guys have any other kind of questions or any kind of suggestions, right, just we have a suggestion form and a feedback form which we have to towards the end. So once after the session is completed, you can just fill that out. That can also be your attendance list, and there you can add your feedback, what you thought of the course, or what you thought of the program. Do you have any kind of suggestions, or would you like to kind of add something? Would you like to be a speaker in this? Do you have something in which you can kind of contribute, things like that? Okay, so we'll be open to everything. You can just fill that up there towards the end of the course. And all the discussions and all the links related to the course, everything will be in that open loop slash discussion thread right above. Okay. And whatever you see now here, right, it's recorded, and that will be posted on our YouTube channel so that you can view it later. Okay. So keep all the doubts or any kind of things over towards the end. Okay. Okay, I think Abhishek, that's my introduction. Okay, you take it over and you can continue. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
So now let's start talking about Openloop. Let's discuss it. Openloop is a Flutter-based open source program. But wait, what is open source programs? In an open source program, it is a place where developers like me and you come and together we build projects whose code source, the source code is publicly available. Anyone can come and contribute to it, right? Now this program is only focused on Flutter development. This means that the projects here will be like coded in Flutter and Dart. Now if you have no knowledge of Flutter and Dart, don't worry, we will help you in that. Uh, this program is basically in is contributed into like in two phases. In phase one, you will learn to code Dart and Flutter. We will give you basic mentorship on Dart and Flutter. But remember, there will be no spoon feeding in phase one, but we are just going to teach you everything related to the Dart and Flutter. We're just going to guide you in that. Okay, we're not going to spoon feed you, and we will just help you in learning Dart and Flutter. The phase one will be of 1 month. The phase one will be of 1 month, and here you will be like learning to code Dart, and you will be learning to code in Flutter, right? So this course will be of 4 week, right? That I just told you. In week one, we will be focused on the basics of Dart, and we will be learning about how things are working. Like we will be learning how to comment, how to print something, and we will be learning how the if-else statements work. These things will be learning in the week one. We will give you questions every week, and we will judge you on the basis of your solutions. And those who are performing well will be selected for the phase two. So learn properly. You will be contributing open source projects only if you are ready for them, right? So let's talk about the phase one. In phase one, what happens actually? As I said, that the phase one is divided into 4 weeks. First week is for the basics of Dart. Second week is for the advanced concepts of Dart, like object-oriented programming, and the third week is for the Flutter, right? The basics of Flutter. And in the fourth week, we will be talking about the advanced concept of Flutter. Once all the all the all the 4 weeks are completed, we will be ready for the open source contribution. So here, once the first phase is completed, that is of 4 weeks, we will get you will get a certificate of this training, the first week, the first phase. Okay. Now let's talk about phase two. In phase two, you will be contributing to some small projects and some real projects with our in-house developers, using the knowledge you gained in the first phase. Phase two will be of 4 months, and in the in the 4 months you will be contributing to some real projects, and this will be all you if you learn something in the phase one, you will be selected on the basis of that. And once you are selected, you will be using all the knowledge that you learned in the phase one in the phase two, and this phase two will be of 4 months. It will be just like working with your friends. Okay, the environment in this in the whole open source program will be very good, and Once you have completed the phase 2, you will get a certificate of completion, the phase completion of this open source program, and you will be also getting an interview call for SD trainee job profile. Those performance, the developers who are performing very well will get that call. This is all about this phase 1 and phase 2, and we will just start with the basics of Dart after that. So here today, it is the day where we are starting the phase 1, and we will move towards the first week of this phase. And in the first week we will be starting with the basics of Dart. So here is the content list. Here today we will be like starting with the comments, and we will be ending collection frameworks. These all are the basics of Dart. I'll just tell you a brief intro of all of them. Now it is your work, it is your hard work to just learn all of them in the next 7 days. In the next 7 days you will be able to code all the basic things in the Dart language. I will also give you some tasks to do. So it will be some, there will be some interesting questions that you're going to solve. So let's start with the contents. So the contents list has first as comments. Second, we will be learning the print functions. Then we will be learning final and constants. Then the conditionals, like if there is something happening, then what will happen after that. Conditionals are very important actually. Conditionals are used for statements which have two or four some different pathways, and conditionals are used for uh, uh, telling the situations, and we can judge that whether something is happening right, and if something is happening right, we can do one thing, and if something is happening wrong, we can do other thing in conditionals. Then we have switch case, and it is used for creating like switches, right? We can use switch case for, we can say that we can use switch case for different, if we are using different conditionals, right? We can use simple switch cases here. Then if we want to repeat some codes, okay, we can use loops, right? So we will be learning loops. After that we will be learning break statements. Okay, if a loop is going again and again, we can use loop statements. After that we will be moving toward the standard input output. Here we will be learning how to take input from the user and how to print that output. Okay, so the output is just like this print function. Is this print function is, you can say, we are also using this print function as a output function, right? After that we will be learning functions. Functions are the part of the code which are used to do something. Like we can add some some features which can, like, we can create some other things, right, using functions. Generally we just give them outputs, we just give them inputs and they just provide you the output. After that we will move to the types of parameters. Wait, where whenever we talk about functions, we have to understand what are the inputs that we are giving to those functions. Actually functions generally do some processing with the inputs we are giving them, and those inputs are actually called as parameters, and there are some types of parameters that we are going to discuss today. Exception handling. Actually in exception handling, what we do, that if there is any problem occurring during the runtime, then exception handling is used for tell the user that this problem is occurring. Then we have collection frameworks. These are some collection frameworks are actually some, they are used to set data, they are used to arrange the data according to the need. So let's move to the next, we like let's move to this comments. So here we have three types of comments actually. First is single line comments. Here in single line comments, what happens if we want to say something to the user, like if we want to say something to the developer, if you want to tell something about the code that this part does this thing, so for that we use single line comments. Single line comments are, let me show you, that here we can see an example. This the green line here is a single line comment. Here it is telling you that what this print function will do. So they're generally used for telling the users or the developers that what our code is going to do. Developers generally use these statements or these comments to identify the problems and the bugs in the code. Next thing that we had was multiple line comments. Multiple line comments are used for telling the developers something in paragraph. If you want to say something in paragraph, use multi-line comments. Multi-line comments, about the multi-line comments, everything is here in the explore comments section. So simply you need to do is that go to the links that are available here, just click on them and you can explore more about the comments. So I have explained about like the comments, single line comments and the multi-line comments, and after that we have documentation comments. Documentation comments are just simply used for telling the developers about the whole code, right? Everything is available here in the explore section. You can just click on this link, I will show you this ppt, and this links will like when you click on these links here, you can see that everything is like written here about related to the comments. So here are comments, single line comments and multi-line comments and that documentation comments. Everything is here, right? So let's move to the PPT. One thing is more there, that if you want to practice this code, now what you can do, just for practicing these codes, you don't need to install in initial stage, you don't need to install everything. All you need to do is just go to your browser. Here I have my web browser and just search for dart pad, right? Just search for dart pad and open it. Dart pad basically provides you uh, like this editor. It provides you an editor. Here you can print, here you can like play with dart language. Okay, so what is it, whatever is your code, like let me go copy this code and let me copy it, and if I paste it over here in the dart pad, just run it, then it will work like an editor that you have installed. It will work like this VS code that we have generally, or any other editor that we have. So just go there and play with dart. Okay, now let's move to the PPT. Here we have talked about the comments. Next we can move towards print function. Let's say if you want to print something on the screen, like here we just saw an example recently. So we can do one thing, we can use the print function. Here is the code available for the print function. So the thing is that this print function is doing what? It is printing welcome to Openloop, that is written in these brackets, and it will just print it as an output. You can explore print here in the link that I have given to you in this PPT. You can learn more about prints. After that, we have final and constant. Final and constant are two keywords. They are used for fixing the value of some variables, but they don't they are not same. They have some differences. One difference between them is final. Actually, you can assign a value for final, and but you can't change that value. But here in constant, that value is already fixed. You don't assign it during the runtime, but here in final, we assign the value for the variables. Right here, you can see that xy is given 10. User can also give the value to these variables xy, and they can print those values or use those values, but they can't change those values once they have assigned. But here with the help of const, what we do actually, we give the initial value in the code while we are programming that code, we do that. But in case of final, we just give those values only during the during the runtime. We give the value only once, and everything is done then. And here again we have the links here where you can use those links and learn more about the final and constant. Okay, next we have conditionals. What are conditionals? I told you that conditionals are used for if else work, right? If this happens, then what we need to do. If that happens, what we need to do. Here is an example here. Like we have some examples like what we can do if a number is divisible by 2 and it gives like when it is divisible by 2 then print even, if it is not divisible by 2 print odd. Okay, so the number is 12, we need to just print it even if it is even, and we have to print it odd if it is odd. Again, I have given some links related to the if else statement. Like we can explore the conditionals. We have to just understand what are nested conditionals. You can just check what are nested conditionals. After that, we have ternary operators. And what are actually ternary operators? Let me explain you that also. Simply, ternary operators are those codes which can actually, these are also if else statement, but they are written in only one line. Here you can see this. These are the one liner if else statements. So what is happening actually? If this happens, do this. If this is happening, this condition is happening, then do this, print this. Else, if it is not happening, do this. This is actually how it works, right? So these are ternary operators. So ternary operators are done. After that, let's move to the next one. We have switch case. Switch statement actually, this is actually just like a remote that we have, right? We have a remote for our TV, right? When we just switch one, then channel one comes. When we switch two, then channel two comes. Similarly like that, we have some expression, and here it gives some value actually. And if that value is case one, like here you can see case, and this value is this, then statement one will run and it will break. And if this doesn't happen, then statement 2 will run. Okay, it will match, and if it happens, then statement 2 will run. Otherwise, we will break. If the statement works, then we will break. Otherwise, a default statement will work here, and it will run the code, and again it will break. So this is how a switch case works actually, and you can explore that also. Here the link is given, you can explore more, learn more about them. So these are the switch cases. Now let's talk about the loops. Loops are basically some, actually, with the help of loops, what we do, if we are like coding something and we are just repeating those code for different reasons, then what we can do, we just code it once and we can use for loops or any other type of loops. Here I have given the links of those loops. So we can use different type of loops for repeating some content that we are that like if you want to read if you want to read something, or if you want to write something, and you are doing this for 7 to 8 times, you can simply do that with the help of loops. Simply write an initial value I equals to 0 and I less than 5 and I plus plus. This is the syntax actually. Here what happens, i's value starts from 0 and it goes up to 4, and for that it prints something. And there's an inner loop actually. We can also give label, like here we have outer loop, here we have inner loop. Okay, so outer loop is this one, inner loop is this one. We can give labels, and we can use the break statement for breaking those loops. Like this break statement is breaking the inner loop, and this break statement is breaking the outer loop. And we are just, what we are doing actually, we are creating an outer loop and we are creating an inner loop, and everything in the inner loop is just repeating everything, right? So this is how loops work, and all those loops basically just used for repeating things. You can check other types of loops, like here we have loop type 1, that is for loop, and here we have like loop type 2, that is while loop, and here we have do while loop in the third section. You can just reach these links. Then we have break statement. We have already checked those break statements here. They appeared here like a monster, and they just break those loops. But here we are going to study them once again. So here we have break statements. Break statements are simply used for breaking some going loops. Like if some loop is going on, they will break that. If any function is going, then they will also break that also. Like, so here we have while loop, and here in the while loop we can see if 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 I is modular divisible, like if I is modulus uh, divided by 5, and if it is giving 0, then do what, just print this line and break the while loop. So it will break the while loop, and this code will just move to the next step here, I plus 1. Okay, so this is how break statement work. It will just break the loop whenever it comes. The just recent loop just breaks, okay, automatically. Next we have stdio, that is used for standard input output. So if you want to ask the user to input something, and if you want to like let the user print something, then we can use standard input output. And here we have input dart io. Okay, this is the thing that you like, it is like some header file, or it is the thing that is importing dart io. Like if you want to use the input output feature, you have to just write this line at the top of your code, right, just like this. Here we have the code, the main function, and here we can start it with the import dart io. So we just start with the with this. So what happens actually, your code gets access to the input of like your keyboard, and output your output devices like your monitor, right? And here let's talk about the syntax of inputting. Here we have the syntax, like you have to write string question mark and then name. This is the variable that we are going to store the input. Stdin read line sync, this is the function actually. What it does, it takes input of string. It just takes input of string and stores it in the name, right? And if you want to take the integers, what you can do, you can simply write this code, this line of code in your code, in your program actually. Just simply write this. Okay, this what this will do, this will just take input of integer, and it will just store here in the end, that is a variable actually. Just it will just store it. Right, here is an example how you can do this. Just import dart.io. First of all, do this. After that, do one thing, just create a main function, and after that, just create this variable name, and give it equals to stdin read line sync, right? I have also given the link if you want to read it more. If you want to just get the code actually, just if you want to just copy the code and use it in the dart pad, just go there in this section, and you will get that code. Functions. Let's talk about functions. Functions are actually very important. They, as I told you, that they just take some data, or if they don't have data, they just process something, they just do some functions. If you're giving them data, they will just process that function to that data. If you're not giving them data, and you're just creating a function that don't need any data, they don't need any parameters, then no problem. They, you can also create a function without like without any data. Okay, you can create a function to print something. Okay, simply you can do this. Here we have an example, like void main. In void main, we are just, what we are doing actually, print factorial of 6. So what we are doing actually, we are just printing this function. Whatever this function returns, we will just print it, right? So what we are actually doing, we're just creating one thing, that is we are just creating the factorial values of 6, right? So the factorial of 6 will be printed, but here for the code of that factorial is given here. So it is just asking for a number, and this 6 will be here. And after that, what will happen actually, this this will return 1 if what will happen actually, this will return 1 if the number is less than 0, and if it is not less than 0, then what will happen, it will just multiply number that was like passed, that is 6, into the factorial number minus 1. That is actually, this is recursion actually. It is just taking number and it is multiplying this with 5 actually. It is taking 6 and then multiplying it with 5. Then this function actually, what this function will do, it will multiply 5 with 4, and again recursively everything will be multiplied. So you can see that all the processes are happening here in this function, that is factorial, and these all the processes are just shared with this print function, and this print function will simply print them, right? So functions are simply, they just work like a factory where you just do something, and when you go out of that factory, you just take the goods that are prepared over like in the factory. They work like that. So here we have that function. This is the name of the function here, and this is the parameter actually that the function is getting. These are the simple if else statement that we have just discussed. You can explore more, and don't forget to see the lambda functions. In this explore functions, we will have some like lambda function. You should check them. There will be many type of functions also. Okay, let's move to the types of parameters. Like here we had a simple parameters that was just asking for a number, but we can have more like parameters. Okay, so let's talk about them. So there are actually two types of parameters. One are required, that are like really required, and others are optional. Optional parameters are of three types: positional, named, and default. You can study about them in these like links that I'm giving you. Okay, so types of parameters are very important. Just read them, read all of them. Okay, so these are the parameters, and here we have exception handling. So in the exceptional handling, what we do actually, let's say if some problem is occurring, like here we had here we have some problem. Like this is the code actually. X equals to 12, y equals to 0, and this is some result. Okay, some integer that is result. And what we can do, what we are doing here actually, we are storing x divided by y into this result. And what will happen actually, 12 can't be divided by 0, right? And it can't be stored in an integer. So this is a problem that will occur when you will run this program. So what we can do, we can simply, if someone is like giving these type of conditions, if someone is creating these type of conditions, then what we can simply do, we can simply create an error, and we can give a message as an error, like can't be divided by 0. Okay, so this is the thing where what we can do with the exceptional handling. Exceptional handling are simply used for telling the user that this program is not working for this reason. That reason is given there. So we can use exceptional handling, and you can learn more about exceptional handling here, except in these two links that I am mentioning here, right? And this is all about exceptional handling. Now let's talk about the collection frameworks that we have. Collection frameworks, actually in collection frameworks, what we do, we just store data in different formats, right? If you want to store data in a line, you can do that. If you want to store data as a set, then you can do that. And you can store data as a map in the hash map. Okay, so there are actually actually there are four types of collection framework. First is list, that is, you can say you can relate it with arrays. What happens in list actually, the data is stored one after the another in the memory. They are simply, they are the data of same type. Like if you are storing data of integer, it will be stored, it will be stored in the list one after the another. After that, the set are simply uh, you can say different data types, like not different data types actually, they are unique. They all are of same type, but they are unique actually. And hash map and hash of set is called an hash set. uh, It is basically used for just storing your like saving your memory and your you can say the runtime. Okay, if you're like yeah, it will help you to just you can say it will help you to save your you can say the time that is taken by your program. Okay, and similar thing is for the hash map, right? uh, One problem is there with the hash set and hash map, that they take a lot of space, right? They take a lot of space, but they are faster than this list and set. So you can store data in them, but they will take lot of space than these list and sets, right? So here is an example actually of list. So here we have created a list. Okay, you can see um, variable list, and we are just creating new list. This is the syntax actually simply for creating a list, and we are just giving it a size, right? So we are giving it a size. This means it is a fixed length list. Like if a list has a fixed length, like you can say you can't access you can't enter more values than the that size. So if it is like a fixed length list, then we can only store the number of elements that is equal to the size of that list, right? So these type of lists are called fixed length list. And here we have an example that we are just storing 12 at the zeroth index of that list. Now what is actually index? You can say that that every place in the list is having some address, or you can say is having some uh, notations, right? We have to just tell the user, or you can say the compiler, we have to tell the compiler that where we need to store that data, right? So for that what we do actually, we just mention the index actually. Here we have 0 as an index, and it will start from 0 and it will go to the size minus 1, right? So for 0 it is 12, for 1 it is 13. We're just giving some values for that index. So at 0th index 12 will be stored, and at 1 the first index what will happen, 13 will be stored, and at the second index 11 will be stored. So this will be happening, right? And we will print, when we will print that first that lst actually the name of that list. When we will try to print, what will happen, 12 will be printed, 13 will be printed, and 11 will be printed, right? This is the thing. And if you want to create a list which has like a lot of length, like it is so big, okay, like if you don't know that what should be the length of your list, if you have no idea that how much data you are going to store, then you can do one more thing, that you can simply create a list with no definition of size, like what is the size of that list. You can just leave this brackets empty, right? So we are just going to start with lst is equal to new list, and we are just going to leave the bracket empty. So this is the difference between these two type of lists. One this list was a fixed length list, and this one was variable length list, right? The difference was the size. There is a size of 3, there is a size of, you can say there is no size, right? It can be infinity, right? And there are some functions also that are like given with these lists. And here we have some example, like first dot add 12, right? Here we were assigning those values directly to the zeroth index. Here we can simply use add function, right? And if you have no idea about these functions, like if you want to know more about these functions and what are the functions available here, so I'll just give you the links also. But here we can see that these functions, like this add is doing what, this is just adding this 12 to the list, this is just adding 13 to the list, and again print first, this will just print the list, right? So here we have some links related to the list. And here we have link for the list, and here we have the link for the set. You can explore list, set, then hash set, then you can explore exception handling, right? Everything is here. So this was all about the basics. You all you need to do is just start with the starting of this, like the starting of this list, and simply you have to just start with this here, this list. Okay, you start with this list and complete one by one everything. Okay, and move to the collection frameworks and check each and every link and learn and explore, and every if any problem is there, just discuss in the Discord server, and we will just figure out the problem that is occurring, right? Practice all the things in the dart pad that I showed you, right? Just practice there, and after that, once you reach the end, you are ready for the next week, right? And the we will also give you some questions to do, right? So thanks for joining us, right? And this is the first week intro. You can say we learned the basics of Dart. We just got a basic or we can say brief intro to the Dart language. And next week we will be talking about some advanced topic in the Dart. And thank you for joining. We will be talking about object-oriented programming next week. So till then, just start with this, and we will talk to you in the next week, right? And let me share you, so I'll just share you the question that we are going to discuss. And before that, just do one thing. We are sharing you a feedback form. Okay, just fill that feedback form related to this session, and we will also give you the question after that, right? Okay. So, Bahubali sir.
Abhishek, yeah, that was nice actually, Abhishek, what you have explained. Okay, and one more thing here, what Abhishek mentioned in this community. Okay, actually, we are making this community as interactive one. Okay, here it is actually whatever the Abhishek is explaining. Actually, you have to try that one. Okay, and you will face number of problems in that. Okay, he didn't explain completely in the dart. Okay, those are only the basic concepts. Okay, you have to go through all the concepts and you have to try in the dart. Okay, you will get a number of questions in that, maybe a problems also. Okay, for that you can do the discussion in the open loop discussion section. Okay, actually Abhishek just open the Discord. Actually in that you can see a open loop Discord channel is there.
Yeah,
Abhishek just click on that open loop,
let me
yeah,
show
below
you.
that, no, below the,
Just okay, just see the screen actually. Um,
yeah, is that is visible.
yeah, and
Now
here,
Abhishek just scroll to the top.
yeah,
Okay, this is the open loop section.
here you,
Okay, here actually the notification, all the notifications will be available in the open loop notification. Okay, and the open loop discussions, if anyone have the doubt they can uh, ping Abhishek and you can ask any question related to the dart and the Flutter or maybe about the open loop. Okay, and here also if you have any questions you can ask now. Okay, this is kind of a QA session. Okay, whatever the doubts you have related to the open loop and also with the dart, whatever things explained just now about the dart, you can ask. Okay, there will be some timing. Okay, we have left out a lot of time actually. We plan for the 2 hours, but as of now just 1 hour is just still 1 hour is pending for that. Okay, you guys have any doubt you can ask now only. Okay, up to that you can fill the feedback form. Okay,
Hey, Bahubali.
yeah,
Hey,
yes.
yeah. So, like, I would like to say that can you please explain with the data, like, so whatever you are like explain the programs right in the presentation. Instead, can you please open the data and write there, and can you please explain step by step what is happening? So, like,
Okay,
it's
okay.
for us.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Okay, mhm.
yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. You mean the basics, right? Like how to use the dart pad, and in that some basic programs you have to execute, right?
Yeah. So, whatever the examples you are explaining, so that can be right in the data pad. So it's easy for us to get a like understanding of that.
Understood. Abhishek, just start with this one actually comments and the print statement. Okay, some important problems or the codes which you explained there. Just explain it in the dot pad. That will be better. They can easily understand it.
Okay, sure.
Yes, yeah.
So, okay, okay. I'll start okay, the screen is shareable, right? Okay, I'll start with the comments. Okay, so here we have you can see this part, right? This, right? And the output is here, actually the print statement. And what is actually happening? Let me start with the beginning. We had void main, right? In the void main, what happens actually, this is the part where every code all the code that is happening outside this part, okay, like whatever is happened here will come back to this part, right? The main part. This is actually, you can say, the backbone of the code that you're writing in dart pad, right? In the dart actually. Okay, so this is the main function. And let's say if we are printing something, right? If you're printing something, let's run it, right? This is printing something, right? This was the print function. Now if you want to say, if you have created the code and you are sharing this code to me, and I'm not able to understand what is happening here, like this is just a single line, but if you are writing some, some 10 to 15 lines, and you want to say that this code is doing this, so you can just write here that this code will print hi, right? This code will print hi. So this code will print hi is given here, and when I will run it, it will not create any errors or any problems. In the output you will only see hi, not this part. So these are comments actually, right? So these are the comments, and let's move to the ppt actually.
Okay, one more thing, Abhishek. Okay, actually, if you guys have any doubt regarding this comment,
Yeah, you can just.
yeah, you can ask. Okay, that one we can show it here. And one more thing here. Actually, you have to observe that complete problem properly here. The whatever the thing he mentioned, it started with a void main. Okay, and he's printing the high. Okay, but while taking only that portion of the code is important because he can create another function and he can run it. Okay, example, Abhishek, just create another function there, the void, another function below that.
Let's say.
Okay, some function name. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Create a class. Sorry, open the brackets. Okay, here also print something. Okay, now what happens actually if you run? Okay, it will take the main or it will take the fun. Okay, this one actually, if you observe that once you run it, okay, yeah, actually it takes the high. Okay, in the dart, okay, this is the a default function. Okay, the main is a default function. Okay, which calls first. Okay, if you are taking any of the dart file, if you're running it, it goes to the main only. Okay, it is not taking the fun. If you're writing number of functions also, it is not taking that. It will take only the main. Okay, this is about the main. Okay, that's very important, and you should know about the void. Okay, this one I am just giving you the this thing. Maybe some of them don't know about the void. Okay, better to note it down. Okay, just explore about the void, you will get more information about it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No doubts in this.
No.
Yeah, fine, yeah. Abhishek, you can go to the next one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, one thing is there, if you want, if you are creating some function here, you can run that function directly. Okay, over there, and you can run it. Okay, one thing is more that like every function returns something, right? But if you're creating some void function, okay, if the type of this function is void, and if you're printing something, now what actually happens actually, this code will simply print, right? And if you're calling this function in a print function, let's say like print, right? Print function, this fun, right? It will create an error. Why? Because you are printing this here, and you are printing this like you're doing actually this thing. Actually, you're doing this thing, print, and right. This is an error. Like you're using print inside print, so that's why it creates error. You can do one thing like return something. Okay, if you return something, then it will print it in the right way, right? So let's move to the next thing, that is print function. So I just explained most of the things, okay, about the print function actually. We were like discussing about the comments, and then like I also told you about the print function, right? So we can move to the next one, right? Final and constant. Like I explained something about final and constant. So what was actually happening in the final and constant? Final, what actually final does, that it just takes input from user and finalize it, right? And now that input, like if it's stored in xy, right? Now it can't be changed. Once it is taken, it can't be changed, right? This is the case. This is the case of final. Final, right? And but in case of constant, you what you do actually, you simply whenever constant is written, like here final was written with before int. This means that this integer will be finalized once it gets once it gets the input from the user, right? You can also give the input, or you can say the value in the initial stage, but you can also ask the user to give a value, and that will be finalized for that variable. It is not like others, like in other variables what you can do, you can ask the user for an input and simply change it, right? But here it is fixed. But in case of constant, what happens, user can't give any value, right? Like these values are already fixed during the code, it is fixed, right? You have to like when you're coding for them, you have to give some values. It is mandatory. Here it is not mandatory to give values in the while you're coding. You can ask that value from the user, right? So this is what about final and constant. So you can read them here.
Abhishek, actually, they're asking
Code.
for the actual like you have to print, you have to execute those problems in the dart pad.
Okay, okay then. Like here we have the main function, then final, okay, and we are creating the variable and we're just printing it, right? So like yeah, we have the void main, right? And we have some like variable fine, like we can have simple variable like integer x is equal to, let's say, 10, right? And we can print that x here, and we can run that simply, right? Okay, now what actually happens, that this 10 becomes 11, right? But what we, if we like if we want to create some like if you want to like create some constant variables or like fixed variables, we can use final, right? This is showing some error, right? Why actually it is showing error? Because you have fixed the values. Okay, just remove them, just remove that, and now it will work, right? Because you can't change the value of x. This is the condition. Same thing is with constant, right? Okay, it is giving the same value actually. Yeah, so this is about constant and final, right? Now, any doubts in this? Anyone has some doubts? No, I think, right?
No, yeah.
Okay, then can we move? Yeah, okay, then let's move to the next one, right? There we have conditionals. So what conditionals are, they, as I told you, that they just do one thing, that if there are two conditions, okay, and there's one probability that any one of the things can happen, okay, so we can code for any one of them, right? Or like both of them, like if this happens we can do this, if that happens we can do that, right? So here we have the that code. So okay, wait, like yeah, let's code it, let's code it there. Okay, so like if we have this number, right, x, okay, and if we want to like check that is it 10 or not, okay, like if you want to check that is it 10 or not, we can do if x is equal to 10, right? Do one thing, just print it is 10, right? Okay, so this is how it works. And if it is not 10, like else, if it is not 10, anything, any value, you don't have to tell that if it is not 10 then it can be any other value, you don't have to tell that. Okay, here you have to tell that if it is 10, and here you have to, like, you don't have to give any parameters or anything, right? Just do one thing, print, or do anything, right? Like you can increase the value, okay, x, you can give the value like x equals to 5 or anything, right? You can do this, okay, and then you can print it, okay, print x, right? So this is the thing, right? Just run it. Okay, so it is 10 actually, it is printing 10 because it was 10, otherwise it like if it is like, let's say 11, right? Now this statement false, okay, this statement is not working actually, this part, and then if it is not working then this will work, right? And it will just print x, right? So the thing is that, and you can check for like different different things. Here I have given you some link, like the conditionals, more about conditionals, and there are some nested conditionals. And what are nested conditionals actually? If you want to check that if it is 10, then like if you want to check that if it is an even number, that is it 6, is it any one number, okay, if this happens, let me show you that also, like where is the dot pad, yeah, okay. So if it is 10, right, if it is 10, like no actually we can say, mm, yeah, we can do one thing, we can change the condition. If it is less than you can say 20, right? You can say if it is less than 20, if if it is less than 15, right? If it is less than 15, print less than 15, okay, sorry, here should be x, right? Else what we can do, just print not less than 15, right? So what this code will do, this is called nesting of if else, right? So here we had an if here, and then we have if else statements here inside the if, right? So this is called nesting of if else, right? So when we run it, okay, so it is showing that less than 15, right? So first condition was checked that is it is it it is less than 20 or not. So yeah, 11 is less than 20. So then we check that is it less than 15. So we just printed that yes, it is less than 15. If if the value was if let's change the value, let do it 17, right? So what will happen actually, it will just move here, right? It will just move here, not less than 15, right? This is how it works. Okay, so let's move to the next one that we have. Okay, so ternary operators, like I've just given you the links. Actually, what happens here also, we can code, like let me show you that. Okay, what happens actually, we can create these type of things. Like you can see here, we used a lot of lines, right? For like we use these lines for if and else statements. We can do these things in one line, right? Like here, like here we have, right? So these are just one line of codes. Let me show you that, right? So like here we can see that if like this is actually the condition that is working. Like if the name is here we have a string that is name and its value is zone doy. Okay, so and there is another value that is zone doy. Okay, and we are just checking that whether these two values are same or not. Okay, and this question marks denotes that like we are checking that which of them are, like whether this condition is true or not, right? If this condition is true, this runs. Okay, and like before this colon, whatever it is written here will run, right? This will run, and if it is false, this will run, right? So just we check that we had if statement, right? So if we write it in the if statement, then it can be like name is equal to my name, right? Right, it is like that. The condition is here. Okay, and the first statement, okay, it is written in the if statement, right? Like print this part. Okay, just print this part like this. Okay, and then we can do else part, right? Just print this part, actually this one, right? We can simply print it. Sorry, right? So it is like that actually. Okay, so look, look at this. Now what is happening, you can just compare them, right? It is as I said that these operators are just used for like doing if else work, okay, in one line. Okay, here we did this, these lines, like we had 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 lines. Okay, 8 line of code in just one line of code. So this is the use of these type of operators. And when we will like run them, they will give you the same output, right? Two times, right? Here we can see like first output is from this and second output is from this. So these are the use of these uh, wait these operators. Okay, next we have switch. Okay, switch statement. Now what is the use of actually switch statement? It simply as I said that there will be some conditions, right? And there will be some you can say some uh, cases, right? If let's say if I'm saying that five, I'm just giving five here. Okay, then it will check that like case one, case two, and case three, and wherever it gets the five, okay, it will execute that case. Okay, so again I have the link here and I can start that. Okay, let's say if I have like x equals to, like int x equals to, let's say 8. Okay, okay, and I can create the switch. I can create the switch actually, right? Okay, okay, I can do one thing also. I can just explain this code actually. Okay, right. Oh, sorry. Okay. Look, now what is actually happening here? Uh, we are just having this explanation, and let me create a variable int x, right? And x equals to, let's say anything 9, right? And we have x equals to 9. Now we are just going to give it a key, like you can say give it a key, and that is x. Okay, now once switch has got the key, it will check for other cases. Okay, it will check that like if the key is 4, right? Do one thing, that print like this, 4. Okay, it also works. It is like we are using we can say a multiple if else statements. Like it is you can say similar to multiple if else statements, right? We are using a lot of if else statements. Simply do one thing, just use switch case, right? Switch statements, right? So let's say if we like, if we are creating something like for x equals to 4, do this. Okay, let me show you one thing, that if you are creating some code like if x is equal to 4. Okay, so it will be like that. Just print that, what is that, just print 4. Okay, just print 4, right? So it is like this, case 4, right? And this code can be, like, we can think about it in this way, right? And if this is not working, then we can do once if sorry, else if. Okay, else if the, let's say x has a value equals to let's say 5. Okay, you can do another thing, other thing, like whatever, like print 5, right? Right. Okay, so same thing we can do here. If the x value is 5, we can simply print 5, right? So it is like multiple if else statements, right? Else, we can say else, simply print anything like 4, or you can say like 9, right? Anything we can do. Okay, so as it was 9, okay, we can also like code for 9 also here. Okay, let me code 9, right? So it is how this is how it works, right? And here we have default. Okay, here we had else. Like default, what default does actually, it just give you, if any of the conditions are not working, run this. Similarly here, if any of the if else statements are not working, just run the else, right? So we can simply like copy this and paste it over here. Okay, here, like, okay, let me change it to 5, right? And change this one to 5 also. Okay, so what will happen? Simply x equals to 9. This means that we are checking that is x is equal to 4, then we can do this. No, then we can check that is it x, if x is equal to 9, then we can do this. We can break. Okay, and if none of them are working, then we can simply check for the default. One thing is more there, that this default, sorry, this break actually. So what happens actually, if this statement works, we don't have to check other like statements, right? We don't have to check the other cases actually. So what we can do, we can simply break the switch. Okay, we can simply break from there. So here if we are running for 9, right? If we are checking for 9, and if it is done, like if x is equal to 9, then definitely it will run. Okay, what happens actually, default part don't run. Once this has run, default part will definitely not run, right? So this is the use of this break here, right? If I remove this break, what will happen, this will also get printed, or it like it is showing some error, right? It is showing some error, so we can't do this. Okay, so let's run it and let's see what's happened. Okay, okay, like what is happening actually, let's check. X equal to 9, then we are just like here we landed and we printed this 9, right? And then here what happened actually, if like we just did x equals to 4. Okay, if is equal to 4, then print 4. No, it will not be get it, like it will not be printed. If x is equal to 5, actually what happened actually, I had to print 9 here, like yeah, 9. Yeah, so actually I did printed 5 actually here, so that's why none of them were matching, so that's why 5 got printed. Okay, so this is all about the switch, right? So you can explore more about them, about the switch. I just shared you the link actually. Okay, just go there and check about that. Now let's talk about the loops. Okay, so if you want to code one thing, and like if this case is happening that you are coding something and you're doing the same thing for like multiple times. Okay, like if I want to like say okay, let me open the dart pad. Okay, like if I want to print something for 10 times, or for let's say 2 times or 3 times. Okay, so let's say void main and right, print hi. Okay, and if I want to do this for like 3 more times, okay, so I have to do this for 3 more times, right? Okay, right, print hi again, print hi. Okay, so this is like they take this is taking time, right? Okay, and as you saw that I was also doing some typing mistakes, right? So it is taking time. We can simply do one thing. We can simply use the loops. Okay, so we can simply use loops. Okay, this is the syntax actually here. uh, we what we do actually, we just uh, like we just type the some statements here for the loops, and these statements, according to these statements, these are actually rules for the for loops. Okay, these rules that will for loop will never break actually. Okay, and it will just run according to these rules, and whenever these rules are like not followed, this for loop will stop, right? So this is how for loop actually works. Okay, let me show you that. Let's say we have for loop. Okay, and we have let's say int I. Okay, and that is equal to 0. Okay, and we have like a condition, that is if I is less than like let's say uh, 5. Okay, I plus plus. Okay, just print hi, right? Right, when we will run it, what will happen actually, the this time first time this high got printed here, right? And this this I actually started from 0. Okay, and it ended I less than 5, means that 4 times, right? So this just got like increased, and just all the highs were printed, right? So this was the thing, right? 0 1 2 3 4, right? First time it was high printed, then 0 1 2 3 4, right? So what actually happens, I is actually an iterator, right? What is iterator? It just counts that how much like it just count that how much time the loop has run, right? So it will start from 0. Okay, count like do this thing, do this like this, it will just print high, then it will just go to like it will increase here I plus plus means that increase the value of I equals to 0 to I equals to 1. right? And it will also check that is I is less than 5 or not. If it is like greater than 5, then it will break, right? So it will just check that I is equals to like it will increase the value from I equals to 0 to I equals to 1, and for that I equals to 1 it will print something, right? And again it will move to I equals to 2, then I equals to 3, and I equals to 4. Once it reaches the I equals to 5, what actually happens? When I is equal to 5, it is not smaller than 5, right? This statement, you can say it it is it is now not followed, okay? And that's why the for loop stops there, right? The for loop just stops there, and what happens here, we can simply say that high is printed for just 5 times, right, from 0 to 4, right? So this was the for loop. You can check for other loops, like here we have the while loop, right? And here we have the do while loop. This link actually, you can open the links, right? Simply open the links and you will get them. Okay, let me close them actually. Yeah, so here we have actually the basic readings about that about the loops. And here we have the while loop, right? What is actually happening in the while loop, that what is actually happening, that it just checks that number is there, okay? Number is there, and if it is greater than or equal to 1, so what happens? You what do you understand of while? Okay, while actually just check that you can say whenever the number is greater than and equal to 1, run this code, okay? Whenever this is happening, run this code, okay? And once this is not happening, this condition is false, stop the loop, right? So this is about while loop. When we talk about the do while loop here, what happens actually, this is the do while loop. What happens actually, we first of all do something, okay? Then we just condition, we just check the condition, okay? So whether the condition is false for the first time, it will do that, okay? It will do the whatever the statements are written there, it will perform those statements. And if they are fail, they like do doesn't care about that. They just we just print that, okay? Here you can see that it is printing n, which was initially equal to 10, so it will get like 10 will be printed. Here you can see this 10 will be printed, and it will increase the value of n, okay? So and then we will check that was it greater than or equal to 0. So yeah, it was actually greater than and equal to 0, right? So it will just print the 9, right? And again when we will run the loop, again when the loop will be run, then we will do the same thing. We will print the n, okay? And 9 will be like printed, then we will decrease the value of n, and it now n will become 8. And while loop, this while statement again check that is n greater than or equal to 0. Yes, it is greater than or equal to 0. It is 8 now, so no worries, you can repeat it. We repeat it again and again. Once it reaches the end, like here, okay? Once it reaches the 0, it never goes to less than 0, right? It only goes to n equals to 0, okay? So here the do while loop breaks, right? So this was about while loop and do while loop in Dart. And now we can move to the next one. Okay, one thing.
Abhishek,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Actually, I didn't understand the difference between the if and the while loop. Can you explain it once again? Because
If
if
and
and while both executes in the same manner or what?
actually you are confused between if and while loop.
Yeah, do while loop I completely got it, but if and while I didn't get the difference actually.
Like if statements and let me show you them. Like these are the loops, right? And
Yeah.
we were talking about these wait, if, yeah, here we were talking about if, right?
Yes.
So are you confused between them?
Yeah, yeah, correct, correct.
Okay, let me show you then.
Yeah, so if loop actually it executes only once, right?
If, yeah, actually, let me show you.
Okay.
Okay, like we had void, right? Main, right?
Mhm.
These are the
Yeah.
like this is the main function that we are creating. Okay, everything
Mhm.
is like working as a function, right? So
Mhm.
main function, right? And here if we are like creating x equals to 0, let's say, okay, sorry, x equals to, let's say, 10, right? And what we are doing is that we're just checking if what is happening, that x is equal to we have to like use two equals to here, remember that,
Yeah,
right?
conditions. Okay.
Yeah, so 10 is here, right? And let's say if we are printing that value, okay, if x is equal to 10, just print that, print x, right?
Mhm.
This is something that is happening in with the if, right? And it is not necessary to
Mhm.
use else also with that. Okay, one thing I
Mhm.
missed actually, I have to tell that what type of data it is, right?
Okay.
So if x is equal to 10, then print x. But if you want to do this again and again, like it is not necessary actually to print x
Mhm.
for like multiple times. But if you want to print that value of x multiple times, then you can use a loop, right? So you only
Okay.
want to know about the while loop, right?
Mhm.
Or the for loop. Are you confused with the for loop also?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, kind of.
Okay, then let me show you that for loop. Okay, so for loop we will just print actually, uh, or you can say we can, yeah, we can print this x actually, है ना? Okay, so int I, that int I, and I less than, let's say we are just printing x for 5 times, right?
Mhm.
Then I plus plus, and let's print, okay, print, let's print what was that actually, x, right? We can do one more thing, that we can perform some operations also. We can increase x, okay, we can increase x every time. This is also
Mhm.
something we can do. Okay, so for loop,
Okay.
what for loop actually do, that it is just check, it just checks for one condition, that this condition actually, this condition. Okay,
Okay.
if statement, what if statement is doing, it is just checking this condition, x is equal to 10 or not, right?
Okay.
And it is
Mhm.
doing this for one time only. Okay, it
Mhm.
will do that this work on until this statement is not false, right? If I
Okay.
stop increasing I, what will happen actually, if I stop increasing I, okay,
It
so
will
what
run
will
on
happen,
infinite times.
yeah, it will happen
Yeah.
that I will be 0, okay, and
Mhm.
again it will check, I will be again 0, then it will be printing x for multiple times, right?
Mhm.
And I don't want to like do this, okay, it will be like repeated again and again for multiple times, okay.
Okay.
And when I run this, what actually happens, okay, like look, what is actually happening, this statement is just checking that x is equal to 10 or not. This statement is just like repeating that task, okay, that
Yeah.
print x, print x, print x, print x, and also increase the value of x and then print it
Mhm.
again. Okay, so this is what happening here.
Okay.
Okay, if statement is doing it for one time, and this else statement is doing sorry, the for loop is doing this for 5 times, right? And
Yeah.
similarly this was for the while loop. While loop we can give, in while loop we can give anything, like let's say if we created some integer, let's say 0, right? Or you can say, let's say give it let's say give it 5, we'll start with 5, right? And we will just check that if I is greater than, like, sorry, if I is let's say, yeah, if I is greater than 0, okay, so whenever
Mhm.
I is greater than 0, just repeat the code that is written between these two curly brackets, okay,
Okay.
repeat that, right? So what we can do, just print x, right? And do one more thing, that just reduce the I every time, okay, reduce the I,
Okay.
okay. So here we can see we are just
Mhm.
printing x again and again, again and again, okay. Now for the first time what will happen, I will be 0, or
Mhm.
you can say like I will be, sorry, it will be equal to 5. Then it will just check, is I is greater than 0, Yes, it is greater than 0. Definitely 5 is greater than 0. Okay, so it will just print the x, and it will decrease by 1, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what will
Yeah,
happen?
I correct.
I's value will become, let's say I value is will become 4. Okay, it
Mm-hmm.
will
Mm-hmm.
again run, right? It will print 10, then it will become
Correct.
3, then 2, then 1, and once it then it will become 0 also. Okay, then
Yeah.
when it will become 0, it will just check that no, now this time I is not greater than 0, it is equal to 0. So this statement will not run for that condition. Okay, so this is
Okay.
this was the basic difference between like these two, right?
Okay. Yeah. So then for and while both executes in the same manner, right? Then
For and while. Yeah,
while.
yeah, they are almost same, but if you want to
Mm-hmm.
sometimes what happens actually, there is a basic difference actually. Here I'm executing in such a way that while and for loop are looking same, but actually they are not
Mm-hmm.
same. Hmm.
Okay.
One thing is there that I just created I, okay, but if you want to just if you don't want to create any iterator and still you
Mm-hmm.
want to do something, and
Mm-hmm.
so this is a little a confusing in for loop. You can do this in while loop. Let's say if x is greater than 10, sorry, it is greater than 5, right? Print x and reduce the
Mm-hmm.
value of x every time, right? So the statements are a little different. Actually, the while and for loops are a little different. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
for loop you have to create some int I or equals to 0 this time. Actually, this is not actually mandatory here also, but while loops you have to decide that when to use while loop and when to use for loop. Okay, so this is
Okay.
the thing.
Oh. Okay. Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, Maheshwaran, there is actually a basic difference in the while and the for loop. Okay,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
while actually each time checks the condition. Okay, if
Mm-hmm.
the condition is proper, then it executes that.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
but in for loop, it is actually a defined condition is mentioned in
Mm-hmm.
the for loop. Example, I is 0 and you are mentioning I equal to 5. Up to that you are executing that. Okay,
Yep.
that is a defined loop you are mentioning inside the for loop before executing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's already defined. Okay,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
but in the while loop, each time once the loop is completed,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the
Mm-hmm.
condition will change. Okay, the condition in the change in the sense actually the value which you are using inside the condition that will change. Example, I is more than 0, he's checking, right? Okay, the I value will each time change. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
depend
Mm-hmm.
on that it will decide whether to execute the next
Mm-hmm.
loop or not.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Uh,
Thanks.
Now let's I told you about the switch, and like I also explained you about the loop. You can check the documentation. Okay, here there are some links that I've shared, and they are very good actually. You can just read them, and after them we have break statement. Like we have used them before. Okay, and like I have shown you some code actually. Okay, let's say if if we want to break this code, okay, anytime, right? Like if x is equal to, let's say let's say if it becomes 3, right? If it is equal to 3, just break this loop. If you want to break it for some reason, right, for any reason, that if you want to break it at 3, so you can use simply the break, right? What is actually happening here? Okay, let me check. We have to just check for actually the, let's say 6, right? 6, or you can say 7, right? Then it will be good. Now look, what is happening actually? It is just checking that while x is greater than 5, okay, now this condition is right. And when while x is greater than 5, what will happen? It will just run from 10, right? It is starting from 10, right? And it will start from 10 and it will decrease the value, right? 10, then 9, then 8, then 7. And when what happens when 6 is here, okay, sorry, when 7 is here, it breaks the loop. Okay, it breaks the loop, and now 6 and 5 are gone, right? 5, actually 5 was not going to print because uh, definitely the condition in the while is like opposing it. So 6 was like supposed to print, okay, right? If we remove it here, what will happen actually? 6 will be like printed, right? But what we are doing, we're just not allowing it, right? What we are doing, we are not allowing it. Whenever x becomes 7, okay, after that no code will be executed, right? It will get break. Okay, so let me tell you one more thing. Let me show you something. Like if I am not using it here, if I'm not printing it over the break statement, if I am printing it below the break statement, now what will happen actually? Now what will happen? Sorry, okay, yeah, 7. Now what happened actually? It just checked that x is greater than 5, right? Very very good. Then if x is 7, if x is equal to 7, break it. But no, in the initially it was 10, then 9, then 8. But then after that, when it became 7, it just said, look, x is equal to 7, break it. It break the loop automatically break, and once the loop was break, it it like this print statement didn't worked. Okay, 7 didn't printed, right? So this is how our break statement works. Okay, it is very useful. One more thing is there that let's go there actually. There are a lot of things to explore in the break. Let me open that. One more the most important thing here is when you're working on like nested loops. Okay, I told you about the loops. There are different types of loops, and there are nested loops. And when you are actually working on the nested loops, what happens that you want to just you want to give label to some loops. That if you want to break something, okay, here you can see that these are the labels, right? These are the labels for those loops. Okay, and if you want to break some specific loops, right, you can simply do one thing. That here you can see break is here, but here you can see break inner loop. So what this will do, it will check that where is that inner loop. Okay, so here it is starting. Okay, here the inner loop is starting from here, ending here, right? So it will break this part only, not the upper loop. Okay, the inner loop will break only this part. If this part is if it is breaking the outer loop, you are using this line in your code that break the outer loop. What will happen? It will break the outer loop, like the whole loop will be breaked, right? It will be like stopped from running, right? So this is the like break statement. Okay, so this was all about the break statement. You can explore more about that. Okay, let's move to the next thing. stdio. One thing is there that stdio, that is standard input output, that may not work on dart, right? So basically what happens actually, you can check that stdio in your you can say the local system, right? In your you have to set your dart actually in any of your editor. Like I have vs code here, right? So I can create a new file for that. Okay, let me open some new file. New file, okay, right? So here we have a new file, and you can use your input features actually, the input and output, or you can say all the things that are available in this import dart.iu, like dart.iu. Okay, you can use them only if you are using the this this actually this your code, right? It will not work in your browser actually. This is a problem. Okay, so let's say if we have dartpad, and let me search for some code, right? Okay, let me just open that code actually. uh, okay, so if let me like show you how it is not working here in the dartpad. Okay, let me get some code, like, and let me just copy this. I'm just copying it from here and just pasting it over here actually. Let me run it. Look, it is showing some error, right? So sometimes like it does not work, and it shows you errors. So you can simply do one thing, just open this here. Okay, let me check.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Actually, there is one issue with the online compiler. Okay, actually, it just runs the Flutter. Okay, sorry, Dart. A simple course it runs. Okay, but actually, the import.io is actually one of the library which you have to use it. Okay, that library is not installed in the cloud IDE. So better to configure the Dart in your system. Okay, there you can. There you can download the libraries and where you can import it. Once you import that, then all the things works fine.
Yes, actually. I think my Dart is also not working actually in this my system actually. You have to just like set up your system for that. Simply set up the system and it will work fine actually, right? So
Yeah, as of now, you can use the Dart pad. Okay, for the stdio actually, Abhishek will send you the link how to set up the Dart in your VS Code. Okay, if you follow that video, you can easily set up that. Okay, after setting that, just you can search for the Dart IO, then you will get the resource for it. Okay, the link is already given here. Okay, using that you can download it and you can use that.
yeah, okay. So we will send you some links related to this actually. Okay, and let's move to the functions. Right, so void is like here we just check that void main is a function in itself, right? So like if we are creating some function like I just showed you that actually, let's say, let me open that. Okay, actually let's start with the beginning. Here we have void main, right? I told you about that. This is also a function. This is the main function actually. Here let's say if we have created something like if you want to print something, right? Hi. So this will work fine, right? We can do one more thing, that if you want to do something like outside of this code, okay, and like it is just like main function is some center point for all other functions, right? All the other functions will be like will gather here and work together, right? So we can define other function here, and let's say if it is like creating some integer, right? Integer x that is equal to, let's say, any value, right? Integer let's say z that is equal to some other value, right? And if we are like adding them, or we are just printing x plus z, right? Right, and if like this will work fine, right? So what will happen actually, I have not called this function, so what will happen, this function will be like a waste thing, right? So what we can do actually, we can like create more functions related to just like this. Okay, we can create more and more functions, and what we can do, we can just call those functions whenever they are needed actually. Okay, so I can just call the fun function here, right? Fun function simply there. Okay, yeah. So now if I run it, it is giving me the output, this one. Okay, so one thing is there that it is like some station for other function. Okay, other function are processing something, they will just come back to this main function, and only then they will be like executed, otherwise they will not be executed, right? So this is the one actually. Okay, so this was the functions part. Okay, you can explore more, and let's explore together actually. Okay, and we will also see the lambda function here. Okay, so let's check. Okay, it is loading. Yeah, so here we have like some function, and then we have some parameters here you can learn about the parameters, and we have some recursive function actually. Let's check, let's like understand the recursion also. Okay, I'm just copying this code to show you fast. Okay, what is recursion actually? Let me tell you that. Okay, okay, and there are lambda functions. I will explain them also. Okay, just wait. Let's first of all understand the wait, where is that actually? Dartpad, right? Okay, here we have the factor, you can say recursive function. Okay, I like you have to just explore it, but I am just telling you that what actually happens here. That what actually happens here, that you can see that we are what we are doing actually, we are printing factorial 6. What is factorial 6? It is not defined. Okay, but it is not defined only in the main function, right? Outside of the main function, if we check it, then here we have the factorial, right? And what factorial is actually doing, it is just asking for something here, right? It is asking for a number, right? And this number is passed from here, right? So it is just passing 6 to this. Okay, so uh, it is like this: integer x equals to, or you can say number equals to 6, right? It is like that almost. Okay, like it is showing me error because it is not the way to do that. Okay, so what is happening, 6 is passing in this factorial. After that, we're just checking if number is less than equals to 0, do something. Okay, do whatever. Okay, return 1 or whatever. Okay, else what we are doing actually, we are just returning number into that same function, right? Look at this, this factorial comes here. Okay, we are working on a factorial, like, right? Here we have the factorial actually, and you can write here void actually. No, not void actually. um, int type. Okay, here what is happening actually, it is returning some integer, and it is a like function named factorial, and inside the definition of this factorial, again factorial is coming. Okay, and it is working for number minus 1. So what is actually happening, let me explain you. Okay, I'm just using some multiple line comments. What is actually happening, in the first go, what is happening, that it will just check that number is less than or equal to 0, that yes it is, no, no, actually this statement will not work, else it will work, right? It will just multiply number, and it will wait for this to return something, right? It will wait. Okay, so here what will happen actually, number that is 6. Okay, it will get multiplied with what, this. Okay, factorial number minus 1, right? Now, what is number minus 1? Inside that, what will be happening actually, let me show you in the next line. Okay, what will be happening, like here, what will be happening, number minus, what is number minus 1? 5, right? 5 will be multiplied with number, like when we like talk about this, what will happen, it will recursively do one thing, that it will multiply with, again, this part actually. Okay, like this part will be here, like this, right? And here also this part will be there, right? So 6 will be multiplying and with something and waiting for this part, right? Similarly, in this part it will be 5 actually, and 5 will be waiting for like 4, right, to get its multiplications, right? So same thing will be happening, like it will return the multiplication until 4, and then it will multiply with 5, and then once it is multiplied with 5, it will multiply with 6 and give you an output, right? So this is how everything works, right? So there are what actually is happening, that we are calling one function, we are calling a function inside that same function, right? So this is how recursive actually function works, right? So is there any confusion related to that? Do you have any confusion? Anyone has some confusion related to the recursive function? uh, Hello, what actually happened?
from my side.
Hey Abhishek, I think you can continue. No one has any votes.
Okay, So now we are going to talk about the parameters, right? So here we checked here,
Okay.
here, here in this
Hey,
code we
Abhishek,
check. Yeah.
did you explain that lambda function?
No. Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, I should explain the lambda function, right? So what
Please.
is actually lambda function? Let me tell you here only that let's say we are like defining this function, right? So if there are functions which are of just one line, right? Just like this one, right? This function was of one line. So what we can do here, that here we can see that we have functions, right? Their names and their parameters, and we can use these symbols and the expressions, right? And here we have an example like this one, right? So what we can do, we can just simply we can just remove these brackets here, okay, and we can simply do this. Okay, what is happening actually? Lambda functions are just you can say they are simple functions, but we are just defining them in a different way. Okay, so whenever you see a single line function, use these lambda functions, right? Simply use lambda functions. So what actually happens here, just we define the whole function in one line. Okay, this is the way. Okay, so this is just equal to sign and greater than sign, sorry, smaller than sign. Okay, so this whole makes the lambda function. There is nothing new in the lambda function, but simple thing is that it is just saving your lines, right? And like yeah, it is like curly brackets are creating more lines, or longer code is difficult to understand. That's why we simply use lambda functions, right? So is there any
Yeah.
is there any error, sorry, in the any confusion related to the lambda functions?
Abhishek, can you go to Dartpad?
Yeah.
Is it possible to convert that factorial function into a lambda function?
uh, no, actually, the thing is that here you can as I said that we can only do this if we have only one content here, right? Here you can see that, wait, let me, when it was like defined like this, what we had in the inside the function, only one line of code, right? So only one line of code, when we have this, then we can do like when we can create convert these type of functions into lambda functions, right? But here we have like multiple lines, right? So we will,
Okay. Uh, see. Can you use the ternary operator
yeah,
over
yeah, yeah,
here
actually,
and try?
yeah, if you're like if you're converting this into one line, then you can do this,
Yeah,
right?
please do it now.
Okay,
See, in lambda function, we are not using any return keyword. So that's the main concept of lambda, and so yeah, you can remove that one.
here we can print it like we can simply remove that actually.
Yeah, the main concept of using lambda function is to avoid the return keyword. I'll just make it one.
Right. So this is the thing actually. Uh, we are just like creating the number, right? Like we are just checking this condition, and like if it is true, do this. Else, you can do this, right? So yeah, we can remove that.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have parameters, and we have like different types of parameters, like positional, named, and default. Okay. We will like explore one of them, like every one of them, right? So I have just
Optional name.
like I have just given you some like videos, like link of the videos, and you just check them, like what is inside them, and that just explore them, right? What actually happens here, that like in the positional and named function, like here we can like give names to our parameters. Here we can simply like we can just change the like you can what we can do actually, we can fix their positions. Like you don't have like you can do one thing, that if the positions are fixed for some parameters, what happens actually, uh, what actually happens that user has to just give uh, values, or you can say the parameters according to that position, and then we will like it will not be required to tell, like we don't need to require that this parameter is an integer, this parameter is an a double. We don't have to tell that, right? So this is the use of like this position and named, and like right in the default what happens actually, uh, we just create a parameter in which default value is there, but you can also change that value. Like this is not a problem, but we have a default value, right? So these are the three types of like parameters here, right? So what actually optional parameters are, like these are those optional, these are the the parameters that are option in option, right? We can use them or we can't use them. Like it is our it is it all depends on us, right? So these are the parameters and their types. Next we have exceptional handling. And one thing I just told you actually, that if you want to like, here we have the like main function, right? Void is written here, or you can hide it, if you want to remove it you can remove it, right? And what is actually happening, like 12 can't be divided by 0. Okay, so this may create an error. And so when we will try to store that, and if it is like definitely it will create some error. So what we can do, we can simply uh, we can print that error here. Okay, so let me like show you.
Um, Hello, Abhishek.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, we are running out of time. Okay, it's almost 7 o'clock. Okay, actually, only one concept is pending, and also about the parameters. Okay, you guys can check the links and you can explore it. If you have any doubts, actually contact Abhishek in the Discord. Okay, he will be there to help you.
Yeah.
Okay, and actually one more thing, Harsha shared the feedback form. Okay, the feedback form is very important for the community. Okay, everyone better to fill that. Okay, and that is also accounts the attendance for this week. Okay, and next week we'll explaining about the advanced concepts in the Dart. Okay, for that better to check the advanced concepts before coming to the session. Okay, you will understand what we are going to tell here. Okay, yeah, the feedback form is there. Abhishek, just go to the Discord.
Yeah.
Okay, your feedback is very important. Okay, for the community, because this community is for you to develop the Dart and Flutter, and you can learn most of things from here. Or the second one actually, or the Tandemloop Discord discussion. No, Abhishek, below that actually. Yeah, here the feedback form link is available. Okay, everyone fill that form. Okay, that will be available up to 7:30. Okay, before that better to fill that. Okay, and feedback, actually we are looking for the open loop community feedback. Okay, how you want to be in that, how the community want to be. Okay, yeah, that's all about today's session. Okay, Abhishek, anything is there apart from this?
No, actually, yeah, feedback is done, and we will like share them the questions related to this, the
Okay.
some assignments, like
Mhm.
yeah. So we will share them on the Discord server, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah. Abhishek will be sharing the questions. Okay, related to this session. Okay, better to solve all the questions. You will get a lot of questions there. Okay, then you will get some experience from that. Okay, that questions will be like easy and intermediate, and the hard level of questions will be there. Okay, better to solve all the problems. Okay, yeah. Harsha,
Also, check,
nice,
please.
Sunil.
Yeah. So also please post the next week session concept. So we will be coming with some preparation, so it will be easy for us to catch the things.
Exactly, Sunil. Yeah, we'll be posting that.
Yeah, and one more thing. So,
Mhm.
from the next time, can we use the project like as an example? See, so now we know the OOPS concept, right, from this session. No, not
Okay.
exactly, so, but basic concept. So
Mhm.
from the next time, we will be learning with the Flutter actually. So whatever the
No,
loops
no,
we
no.
have.
No, next time it's only about the advanced concepts in the Dart.
Okay.
Okay. After that, the Flutter will come. Actually, in that we'll explain with a small project. That will be better, right?
Yep. So yeah, let's complete all the like related that things. Yeah, then we can
Okay.
move to Flutter.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Sunil will be adding the schedule and kind of what we'll explain in this channel. Okay, so I think that will give you some context before coming the next week. Okay, and
Yeah.
all the discussions will happen here. So if you have any questions between that, right, you can just let us know. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I will let you know.
Okay, guys. So I think we'll end this session. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Just make sure you fill that feedback form, and every one of us will be in connect in this chat. Okay, in the open loop discussion section. If you have any doubts, anything, any other requests, you can just always contact me, DM me, send me a friend request, and we'll connect over there. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you. Have a good weekend, and see you. Bye bye.